So part of us coming through these last 12 months has been that God has been cementing in our hearts our identity. God has brought clarity to us. He's been bringing clarity to us with regards to who we are and who we are not. And so it's been so encouraging for me to be able to look back at our church family, how we've grown in just a humble confidence in who we are. You know, we're Shofar. That's how God has called us to be and who God has called us to be. So there are a couple of things that just come naturally to us, which we say is part of our spiritual DNA. So in other words, when we do these things, we're at our best. When we do these things, we are at our most relaxed. This is the way God has hardwired us. And we're so thankful to be part of the rest of the body of Christ, but we're so thankful also to be Shofar, to be people who love the Lord Jesus Christ passionately. And so as an outflow of that, worship is just something that the Lord has poured out upon us from the earliest of days, passionately praising Jesus, having houses of prayer, being intentional in our outward focus and missional, and loving the communities around us. That is just, whenever you go into every Shofar congregation, you can know for a fact that those elements are there, that is part of who we are. Doesn't matter whether we're in a city, whether we're in a rural area, doesn't matter whether we're here or in Burundi or in the UK, those values are alive and well in our midst. And so reflecting and looking back, we just want to encourage you and show you a little bit of a glimpse as to how God has been just releasing us in the midst of a time when everybody's saying you should be a little bit more hesitant, you should be focused just on consolidating and just surviving. We're saying, no, God has been releasing us to really flourish when we do the things that God has called us to do, and we're comfortable and confident in our own skill. So be encouraged by this next few minutes.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this session. My name is James, and such a privilege to be sitting down with Pastor Heinrich today. Welcome, Pastor Heinrich, to your own house.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
God is love and God is holy. Christ hanging on a cross is the most profound demonstration of this.
The God of power will limit. He defends the poor in spirit. Yes, he saves the humble man.
Salvation belongs to our God.
What happens when we worship? What is the significance of gathering together with other believers and lifting our voices? Join us for the When We Worship series, where we'll go deeper in both the understanding and expression of worship through inspiring teachings.
You are with us when death will not separate.
Well, it's a juicy kaboom performance coming your way right now. They are standing by to perform their newest single and Gospel Monday poll-winning song, Wait on the Lord, that was released just last week, so this is an exclusive here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Now, this track was written by band member Jeannie during a very difficult 2020, and what it really does, it speaks about being patient and how worthwhile it is to wait on God. So, Shofar Brian, the floor is yours one more time.
The team that started Shofar Band back in 2009, where we just had a desire to capture the sound and the songs that God was giving to us as a church family.
You are faithful. You are faithful. And more than the ocean's deep. Yeah.
What a privilege just to be able to give you a bit of update. Shofar Church International on the missions we are doing. You know, through COVID, a lot of people said things are just going to die down, but we're still busy and God is doing amazing stuff, and we want to just thank you for giving. We want to thank you for having a heart for the nations. It's part of our inheritance. In our purpose statement, vision statement is to reach nations and generations. So we did a lot of things locally as well, even through COVID. You know, last year in December, teams went out to Malawi to support Uncle Stephen Lungu there. We sent a couple to Missouri, Darbury and Mina in India. There they connected with the orphanage, some of the pastors there. They just this past week baptized a couple of people. Wow, so exciting, and we're blessing them and praying for them. They're in the northern parts, going up to the Himalayas. Yes, they're part of our family. They went from PE, the PE congregation sent them. We also did a lot of work now in Afghanistan. We all saw what happened with America withdrawing, and so some of our pastors from Pakistan, some from the Netherlands are connecting together, and it's just amazing to be able to have sent a couple of thousands of rands just over and rescuing some people out of Afghanistan. And also, you know, we planned some teams to go to different places, but God just provided for these teams to go to Natal, especially after the rioting and the looting. Just exciting to go and partner with African Enterprise, where Tiens and Charlene is, and we went to Angus on the farm and to Live Village. It's just great to see young George and the people that Live Village, how we can partner with them, and Uncle Teach and so many other people. So I want to encourage us in this time, especially when we're starting, you know, in Stellenbosch specifically, we had a couple of people, now 7 missionaries coming from Brazil and Germany, being here for a year with us. And also partnering with people like Gabriel from Fire and Fragrance, who brought teams over, YWAM from all over. They went there to Almo and George and Gillian Paul and Potch and a lot of places. So let's not neglect our mandate to go to the nations. I want to encourage us, and we're starting next year, beginning next year, with a year of your life for specifically missions, where people will go to, for instance, Nepal, where Pastor Amar is. He's just with the 3 months growth period, with 3 months making disciples there in the northern parts of Nepal, the eastern part. So let's go.
Hi guys, just some feedback concerning OneHope, Relief Life and ProChorus. As you know, OneHope is an organization that makes available amazing Christian material for children and youth, and we are partnering with them not only to equip our own churches for children's church and youth, but also to take this material into the communities and equip others to make a real impact in the lives of children and youth. And I really want to encourage you to look at the website and all the different materials available, and to consider equipping some of your staff members as facilitators. Then also Relief Life, we had an amazing busy year helping communities during COVID. As you know, millions of rands of food was distributed, and Relief Life is a powerful tool that the local church can use to reach the community in times of disaster. And then ProChorus. ProChorus is an extension of the church. We are bringing ProChorus back to the heart of its purpose, and that's really to be a vehicle for discipleship. Just like Let's Go is a vehicle for discipleship in doing missions, so too ProChorus is a vehicle for doing discipleship through community development. And all our projects that is an extension of the church, we would love to do through ProChorus. They've already established a field of expertise and experience and a reputation over the years. So if you're considering to do community development in your church, please contact us, please contact ProChorus, and they will definitely assist you and your church to be successful in reaching the poor, but also to use it as a platform for discipleship. I hope these 3 platforms will continue to grow in us as Shofar and will be used effectively to bring the gospel not only to the poor but the whole world. May God bless you.
So guys, really one of the highlights of the entire year for me has been when we realized when our country started just being plunged into this terrible time of looting and violence and crime that started to take place. That really was part of the darkness that the Lord had warned us about this darkness that's coming and that's descending upon our nation. That when we realized that this was beginning to happen, we sent out the message, the alert, blew the shofar, so to speak, and just chatted with our pastors, and I think asked them to mobilize all of our people to get together to pray. I think it was a day or so after we'd sent out the message. And I must admit, I was just so overwhelmed to see the response. I think we had something like 700 odd connections. That's not even the amount of people. The people who were on those connections were obviously much more, but just hundreds of our show family members came together in prayer, the drop of the hat, and it reminded me again of how crucial this value is to us as a church family, how it in actual fact defines who we are. We are people who understand how dependent we are upon the Lord. And it was so amazing to be able to see how God answered our prayers as we came together that day, obviously also together with thousands, if not millions of believers right throughout our country and our Shofar family members in other parts of the country or the world who also prayed for South Africa. And God did a miracle. He did for us what He did for us in 1994. He saved our country, plucked us from the precipice of violence and anarchy, and has again done something that only He could do. And that's the testament and power of prayer. And so I want to encourage you to continue on this trajectory of just declaring God's purposes in prayer over your congregation, over your town, over your village, over your city, over your nation. God is still the one who answers prayer. And God is the one who has called us, our Shofar church families, all of our places of worship to be houses of prayer. And it's been amazing to just see how we have just been reawakened to that. Even when we couldn't gather physically, even when we couldn't get together and have massive prayer meetings, we lay hold of every opportunity, whether it was over Zoom, whether it was just prayer walking, whether it was just on a WhatsApp group. People were praying and they're still praying. And because of your prayers, we're seeing massive shifts. We're seeing the atmosphere being lifted over us as a Shofar church family. And we're beginning to see the light breaking forth again, leading us and calling us to go forth to the nations. And I believe it's because of the faithful prayers of the saints that have carried us and have brought us thus far. The faithful prayers of God's people avail much. So thank you for praying with us. Thank you for the prayers you have prayed, the prayers you are praying for us right now, and the prayers that you still will pray as we move forward.